Hi everyone, it's your favorite atomic blonde here with a little bit of atomic pop chat, Beetlejuice special. So fairly light spoilers, I guess. I'm not going to explain the whole film, but just wanted to jump on and let you have my thoughts. So yeah, it's been a bit difficult one to review this one, in the sense that it's not a bad film. It's okay, but it's not a great film, and it's not a patch on the original or the first film. So obviously this is 30 years later. Gosh, yeah. I mean, I remember going to see Beetlejuice at the cinema when it came out. As I said previously, I think it was like one of the first 12, or the 12 was created like this, and this film, as we used to just have PG 15, 18 in the UK. And it's, yeah, and obviously it's a little bit saucy. Beetlejuice is a little bit saucy, but it wasn't really a 15. Like I said, it wasn't really a certificate for it, and they created the 12 or the 12A, I think it was. So yeah, so I watched this at the weekend. And it has its funny bits, Artem Larsen, and obviously Michael Keaton is brilliant in it. He is so good, and you can tell that he must have gone back and rewatched the original to sort of get back into character. But it's yeah, I mean, it was just like, hadn't missed the beat. It's just like literally he played Beetlejuice like, last year, and he's playing Beetlejuice again rather than the massive gap. Like I say, overall it's not a bad film. It's trying to do too much, and it's a bit disjointed, and there's almost like too much going on in the film, in one regard, but then in another regard, it points it was a little bit boring. So it's a real contradiction of a film, except there's too much going on and it's boring at the same time. But the pacing is just a little bit off, and that's why I think some of it just felt a little bit trudgy, a little bit when's something going to happen. So we start off with we find that Lydia is now hosting a paranormal show, because ever since the original Beetlejuice film, she's been able to see ghosts, not just the Maynards, which was obviously Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis back in the day. She can see other ghosts now, and sort of made her living out of that. But she's also like completely kind of neurotic and a bit broken. And I think this is one of the complaints of the film, is that yes, of course, we're all going to be different from when we were 14. But her personality is so different, and she's just a bit sort of weak and I'd say pathetic. I mean, she's lost her husband. She has a daughter that she's estranged from. So they've almost tried to sort of replicate the relationship that Lydia had with her stepmother, who's obviously also in this. But, she's her actual mother, but her husband, who was like some sort of eco warrior, went missing on an expedition to South America. And the body was never found. So her and her daughter quite estranged, and Lydia is dating like the producer of her show, or the director of her show, who's Louis Theroux, Justin Theroux, slight difference. Who's quite good in this. He's real sort of bit of a slime scumball though, and it's really obvious from the jump that he's kind of using Lydia, but it kind of comes out later on in the film. So then Charles, who's obviously her father, not unsurprising, this film has been killed off. For those that don't know, the actor that played the father in this has had several run-ins with the law to do with they're saying he leans towards minors. So we leave it at that. Allegedly leans towards minors. We'll just leave it at that. There's been some complaints that his character is referenced quite a lot in this film, and the character itself is, is mourned and loved and all those. And some people have been a bit like, oh, but the actor, blah blah blah. You have to separate the actor from the character. And what I actually did like, personally, I thought it was good that they just like, sometimes you'll watch a sequel or something, and they just don't even reference that character. It's like that character never existed. There's no real explanation. Oh, they died off screen somewhere. And they don't really sort of explain what happened, because of either the actors died in real life, or they say they've done something a little bit, that we don't want to talk about. I think about the algorithm on this channel. So actually, I thought it was quite good that they kind of explained what happened to this character. And there's like a little claymation thing doing the actor, and he was in a plane crash, and then he survived the plane crash, and then he didn't drown, and then gets eaten by a shark. And then so in the afterlife, is it so spoilers, guys? Oh, I've lost me. I lost my little thing that tells you that there's spoilers. Hang on. So organised as always. Yeah, sure, that was there. Don't know why I stopped running. But there we go. Yeah, so spoilers. When he's attacked by the shark, so in the afterlife, like on his head, he's sort of all this bit has been like bitten off, so he's just like shoulders and torso and legs. So obviously you don't have the character's face. So I thought that was quite a creative way of sort of coming up with having the character in it but not in it, because of the actor. So personally, I was okay, because it's about the character in the film, not the actor. But also we know that when it comes to like minors in Hollywood, it's not frowned on so much in Hollywood as it is everywhere else. So, but let's leave it at that, shall we? Yeah, so obviously his character's passed away, so they go back, and he still has the house from the original film. They go back there to have the funeral and sell the house, etc. And this is obviously what leads to them having to get Beetlejuice involved. Now Beetlejuice is still in love with Lydia. Crazy, and she's like the love of his life. And then we've got this whole piece where in the afterlife, Danny DeVito's like this monitor, and he knocks some boxes down and all body parts fall out. They get stapled back together and creates this woman who's Beetlejuice's first wife, which is referenced in the first film when he goes to get the wedding ring and it's just a finger. He takes the ring off, that's her finger. So there are some quite good little tiebacks, but without being really on the nose. But this is like one storyline really that doesn't go anywhere. She just kind of she's a soul sucker, and there's some good jokes around that, but it doesn't really go anywhere. You could remove her character from the film and it really wouldn't affect the story. So it's like one thread. Then you've got another thread. So obviously you've got Charles's funeral and sorting out the house. You've then got another thread with Lydia's daughter, who's Jenna Ortega. She thinks her mum's full of crap, that she doesn't see ghosts, and she just, they're estranged after they've like grown apart since the father died, and she doesn't like the direct producer that her mum's dating. And at the funeral, he proposes and she says yes, even though it's quite clear she doesn't really want to marry him. And this is where it's kind of a bit juxta to her original character in the original film, that she was quite gutsy, she was quite fiery, she kind of knew her own mind, she didn't want to be like everybody else. And like they just made her like really sort of pathetic, which is a bit like, I don't know why they made that decision, but hey. So after the proposal, her daughter cycles off and sort of loses control of the bike and ends up crashing into a tree. There's a tree house and she sees a boy there, and they get chatting. She quite likes the boy. And then over the course of the film, he turns out to be a ghost, and she can see him, so she can see ghosts as well. But this kid isn't what he appears to be. So I say, like, spoilers, not going to ruin it all for you. And that then gets her in trouble, and she has to go, and she's in the afterlife, and then her mum has to make a deal with Beetlejuice to get her back, and that's kind of the crux of it. I think the story with the daughter and the ghost boy was really interesting, and I think they should have focused more on that, and also her relationship with her mother. Like I say, there's all these different sort of threads going on that didn't all need to be there. You've kind of got the underworld police, which was great, and you kind of got them heading up. Is William Dafoe. Now, he was an actor when he was alive, an actor who played a cop, and now he's sort of playing his cop role in the afterlife. But he was really good in this. It was good fun. But again, the police sort of side of it doesn't really go anywhere. And they're kind of there at the end, and then they're not really used or utilized. It's a bit like comic relief, but again, it doesn't really add to the story. So either this film needs to be a little bit longer, which is something I don't normally say these days, and they could have played out some of these threads a bit better, or actually cut out these threads. And I think if you just focused on maybe Lydia and what happened to her and why she's such a, you know, space cadet these days, and then the storyline with the daughter and the ghost and all of that, I think you would have got a much tighter, better film. But it is completely watchable. And what I will give them kudos for is that they haven't just rehashed the story from the first film. It's not like you're literally just watching the beat for beat what happened in the first film. They have actually tried to do something different, which is great. And I really appreciated that. Overall, the acting's quite good. I know Winona Ryder's coming for a bit of stick on this because she's like, but I don't know if it's just the way the character was written. Like I say, it just didn't really gel how her character is now. But overall, it is definitely worth a watch. If you're expecting the first film or as good as the first film, you're going to be disappointed, but it's definitely watchable. It's quite good fun. It's just a bit of a mess. It's just too much going on. And because they're trying to get all this in, the pacing's not quite right and the focus isn't quite right on the right storylines. But overall, I guess it's like when you wait 30 odd years for a sequel, you have high expectations, and it certainly doesn't meet those expectations, I would say, of the first film. But it's okay. It's okay. And I think it's probably going to do very well in the theatres. Like I say, it's completely watchable. You could watch it without seeing the original, but there'll be a few things like you don't really know who the Maynards are. And that obviously Lydia was in a position where she was going to have to marry Beetlejuice. You wouldn't really understand that, but you can get the gist of kind of what's gone on in this, and they kind of do a recap and bits and bobs like that. Some really funny scenes with Beetlejuice. He's doing couples counselling with Lydia and her boyfriend, and there's a couple of bits that they redo from the first film and that kind of thing. But yeah, Michael Keaton's performance is on point as you'd expect. So overall, okay, not brilliant. Would I watch it again? Probably when it comes onto streaming, but I'm not sure I'd bother buying the DVD kind of thing. But go check it out. Let me know what you think. As always, please do like, share, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Have you seen Beetlejuice? Or you just like, nah, it's never going to be as good as the original. So I'm all right, thanks. I'll live with there just being one Beetlejuice in my head. But I'd say go check it out. If you like Beetlejuice, there are some funny points. It's just not very tight. And there's just too many threads that just don't need to be in there. But I've seen a hell of a lot worse films, a hell of a lot worse sequels. So it's a decent enough sequel. So if you like Beetlejuice and you love Michael Keaton, it's definitely a watch for you. So go check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll be back soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.